Hello fellow tacticians and happy Halloween. Unfortunately for today's video, we're going to be doing something that I actually didn't want to record. And that's going to be the state of the game. This is going to be coming off the news that several high influential people, I'll call them, I'm not going to list any names, I've gotten rumor that they plan on quitting very soon. And I kind of want to take a look at all the things that have kind of been disappointing me a little bit recently, and that I've noticed disappoint a lot of people, and I've had a lot of conversations. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into some of the topics that we have for today. Before we get into all of the doom and gloom, I do want to announce that I do have a raffle code for all of you. If you're not tracking on the Halloween raffle giveaway, they're giving away a whole bunch of in-game prizes along with some a Death Leaper miniature. So that code is going to be Dread Jace, which I found very fitting for this video. So go ahead, use that code in the raffle giveaway. I'll post the link in the description below. You're going to be able to utilize that and get yourself an entry. I believe it's actually 5 entries for the contest. From what I was told is that most of the winners have been announced via content creation codes before. So, hey, hopefully it'll help your odds a little bit there. So, as I mentioned in the introduction portion, I was having a conversation last night with a friend, and he informed me that, hey, several big people might be quitting very soon. This actually might be their last guild raid season that they play. And I was like, damn, okay, all right. I was actually planning on making a different video for today. I was going to be talking about crit items and crit boosters, and at what point upgrading the other one is more valuable, blah, 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 blah. Spreadsheets, graphs, etc. But I feel this video definitely took precedence. And you know, I was thinking and discussing with this individual and several other people in my guild. It's like, what are your big pain points? And I know I ramble in a lot of my videos and I talk about random things when there's kind of like dull moments in the gameplay, right? Because it's a mobile game where a lot of the stuff is on repeat, where you're just doing, you know, different patterns. If I were to film every day that I play and the general gameplay route that I go every day, it would be the most boring content ever. Let's be real. It's a mobile game, right? It's not supposed to be high paced, super fun to watch at all, right? And I sat down and I was like, okay, cool. What do we want to talk about? And I came up with 4 main points that I really want to hit on. And aside from that, that's going to be the only part that's scripted. I didn't put together a script. I didn't feel that would be genuine. It would detract a lot from my general style, for sure. But the 4 main points that I want to talk about. 1 is content drought. And essentially, I feel that ever since I've started playing the game, we've gotten 1 piece of content. And I'll really highlight what I mean there. 2 is the character releases. We've gotten loads of PvP characters, and I know I've beaten this dead horse enough, but for anybody that might be watching my videos for the first time, PvP is in a very sorry state. Why do I want PvP characters? But not only that, aside from the Thousand Suns release, almost every character has been a FOMO character, a fear of missing out character, which I feel is problematic. Now, like I may have mentioned, I'm going to be making a lot of allusions and references to other gacha-style games, MMORPGs that I've played in the past. I'll try to do my best to really kind of describe those if you haven't played them yourself, so you can understand the point and the reference point that I'm making. 3 is going to be the general monetization point. We keep getting a lot of things in the game, but essentially they're just sinks for us to drop money into, and it doesn't really accelerate our rosters really or make the games feel alive. That, coupled with the different price hikes that we've seen in places like the UK, have created a lot of kind of despair and dread feelings for a lot of players that I've talked to. And number 4, I feel, is the most intangential point, but it's a lack of insight. And it's not a lack of insight that we have with, or that the developers have, but there is a certain point that I'll make there when it comes to the content drought. But it's the players lack insight as to what the game developers are doing. For example, we're getting all these PvP characters, yet we don't know if we're getting any sort of new PvP mode, right? We've seen, ever since I've started playing, and longer, the guild battles, or guild wars tab, be grayed out for, however long, saying coming soon. Is it? Is it coming soon? We don't know, right? And I get not wanting to commit to a timeline, because if you don't meet that metric, it looks bad, but also at the same time, open communication fixes that problem. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we want to come out with X in, December of 2023. Okay, cool. December 2023 rolls by. Hey, we really don't have everything in place for this yet. We're sorry. We're now moving that timeline to January, February. Okay, cool. Yes, are there going to be people that bitch and complain about timelines not being met? Absolutely. But you're going to have people bitch and complain no matter what. Hi, I'm here doing that right now. And yes, unfortunately, this video is going to be mostly negative, and I apologize. But, I feel like most of it's just factual, and if the facts tend to be negative, then sure. Now, granted, a lot of it's going to be opinion, mixed in with that fact, and my opinion right now is generally negative, especially seeing some of the names that are talking about quitting. And just looking at the general attitude in my guild, and my personal attitude as well towards the game, has been mostly trending negative. And we're going to talk a lot about why that may be, and maybe a lot of this will resonate with some of you. So let's start off with point number 1. It's the content drought. And like I mentioned earlier when discussing the 4 different points, I feel genuinely like there has been one piece of content that has come out since I started playing this game. Sure, there's been events, there's been things to do-ish, but nothing really new. The only new piece of content that I would consider new content has been the Samhain campaign. And that was done amazingly. Fantastic. The level of effort that went into it, awesome. The delays that came out with it were communicated. They gave us the reason that they were delayed. And yes, there were angry people saying, oh, we don't have Chapter 5 yet. We don't have Chapter 5. But, they communicated and said, hey, look, we're getting some pushback right now from Games Workshop. They have a few more critiques. We're waiting on approval to make sure that we really get the storyline right. And they were doing a lot of respect and paying a lot of respect towards the IP. Which, out of all the gacha games that I have played in the past, I've played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and 7 Deadly Sins to really high levels. I've dabbled in Marvel Strike Force and I think one other. The big two that I'm going to reference are 7 Deadly Sins and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, because I have played them quite extensively. But, I honestly feel like Warhammer is the best IP even out of Star Wars, right? I feel like Star Wars has gone to absolute shit ever since Disney has done their takeover, right? And, in that game, you go back and look at it now, there's a huge desync of how they're handling the IP. Maybe it's for a good reason, maybe it's not, right? They're trying to please everybody, and I am worried that they'll please no one. And that's one of the ultimate problems that you have to deal when dealing with people. They have characters in from the Legends, they have the Old Republic, they have the new Disney stuff. You're trying to hit 3 different fan bases all at the same time, and maybe they're successful. I don't know, I stopped playing a long, long time ago, because they weren't really helping their players out. They weren't building trust. They weren't, delivering things adequately. Now, granted, the game's still wildly successful, and when it comes down to it, the curtain is heavily pulled down on that game. But essentially, they, going back to the original thing that led us there is, I really appreciate that Snow Prince working with Games Workshop and paying respect to the IP, because it's a fantastic IP. It's why I'm still here. It's why a lot of other players are still here, is because the intellectual property is fantastic. So, huge respect to the Samhain campaign. And we're going to talk about all the good that it did, And then we're going to talk about where they really missed the mark with other content. We got 5 new characters in a farmable fashion that felt really good, really fleshed out, and very enjoyable. I have said it multiple times that I think that the Thousand Sons are probably my favorite faction. Are all of them strong? No. Do all of them fill like a niche need in the game and do something new and kind of exciting? For the most part, yeah. Take a look at Yazagor. The character swap with, kind of a linear damage aspect, and swapping places with a Psyker that synergizes really well with Typhus, with Ahriman kind of, but with Abraxas, right? It's a very fun character. You talk about Toth. Yes, very linear, one dimension. Like, he's a character with Terminator armor that moves very slow, but, his passive really comes into play. His active ability is really cool to use. I just fought against a Toth in Tournament Arena that really ruined my day just because of how tanky he was. He had a melee buff. Absolutely beat me up. And it was awesome. Abraxas. Fantastic design. Very unique summoner with the different summons coming into play, with a buff added into his kit that doesn't feel overpowering, that feels complementary, right? Thalmakis. I feel like he really missed the mark there with his design and strength, but he's unique. He offers something new. He's able to mind control people. He offers the shield on his passive. And then Ahriman, with the fire placement and the different aspects there and the ramping damage for fire, it was a really cool design. I really enjoyed it. And each of these characters is farmable in-game. I've been farming Ahriman ever since release. I'm like 300 and whatever shards, I think 13 or 20, from having him. Or into having him, rather. I'm like 180 away. That feels really good. And also kind of leading into, the 2 other points, character releases and over monetization, because I said there's going to be a lot of overlap. How many people spent the $65, granted an egregious price, for the 100 shards? Guilty. I did. I really wanted the character. I know that several people have spent hundreds or thousands of Rex to try to pull him, despite him being farmable in the game. And that will lead me to another point that we talk about when the fear of missing out characters. Why do you keep doing this when you know people will spend money on your characters? It feels like greed. Whether that's the intent or not, that's what it feels like. And for cases like this, perception is reality. If enough people feel this way, then it has to be that way. Even if it's not. Even if there's a completely different philosophy in mind, that's how we feel, and that's the only way it can be taken. But that was the good. I feel like the Thousand Sons release, the entire faction, phenomenal. Not only did it feel good, but it was well designed. It was done in a way that really builds trust with your community, because free-to-play players can get it eventually, or if you start today, you don't have to dread never ever getting the Thousand Sons. How many people to this day still do not have a Death Guard character? We'll talk more about that in character releases. Now, I know a lot of you may be going, well, Jace, what are you talking about, dude? We've had plenty of content come out, other than just the Samhain campaign. And I'd argue that everything else has been content extensions or content recycling. Limited time events, in my opinion, don't count as content, because I can't go do them today. If I missed that weekend that we had, the Azrael event, I can't really call it content. Was it enjoyable? Sure. But it's not long-standing content. The other chapters coming out into the game, I feel, should have been there from the beginning, and it's just delayed release, right? We've seen the Indominus Mirror Elite come out, which is nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Did it give me anything new? Yes, it gave me new nodes to farm certain upgrades that I was struggling with, and it gave me a reason to build up some of my characters, but it didn't really give me anything new. It helped me with my Calgar farm, thank you. Same thing with Folicadia Mirror Elite. Same thing with pretty much every elite nodes that we've had added. We've had 2 new legendary release events come out, if you count Ragnar coming out soon as coming out. Shadow Sun and Ragnar. And I guess technically Anshi was a little after I started playing, like a little bit. But that's literally a reskinned piece of content, just copy pasted over. Change up, you need Black Legion for this one, you don't need Black Legion for that one. Anything? Yeah, now we're good. Physical damage, fuck it, why not? That's not new content. And not only that, it's a very lackluster way to release these big name characters that you want coming to the game. And I've said this so many times in different chat rooms, and, you know, taking a look at different ways to kind of approach doing it. But, like, we're going into this grand battle and waves of enemies with no thematic ties to the characters that I'm going to be doing. Cool, go kill some orcs, some Black Templars, and, what, Chaos Demons? And here's Malgan Ra. What? Do I at least have to bring the other Eldari to help out with it? No. Is there any sort of, like, me pre-playing the character in this event and the character goes on a journey? No. Okay. Use the rest of your characters that have nothing to do with Malgan Ra to go get Malgan Ra. Or Ragnar, or Anshi, or, you know, Shadow Sun, or, you know, fill in the blank. Janezar. So, I don't consider that new content. It's the same thing, just done again. And then put on repeat to last you a year. Or, you know, 9 months. I know that's actually a year. I stand corrected, because there's typically 4 in the rotation. Guild raids. Yeah. Aside from the fact that we've literally got nothing else, right? There's no guild wars. There's no new PvP content to really make these PvP characters feel worth it. There's been no rework to Onslaught or salvage runs, which I fucking detest salvage runs. Absolutely hate them. I think they're the most annoying content in the game. I think there's a way to make them feel a little bit better. Sure, but I digress. Guild raids. We've gotten 2 new bosses since I've started playing. Gaz was like right there at the beginning. Mortarion. Screamer Killer. But Jace, that's new content. Jace, that's new content. No, the fuck it isn't. And instead, it's actually going to tie really heavily into my over-monetization point. Mortarion came out and was the most difficult boss, hands down. Felt hard doing it. It was challenging. And I was too new at the time to realize a lot of the problems that came with Mortarion being released. And now that I'm a more experienced player, I see a lot of the issues with Screamer Killer. And I want to talk about those. And let's talk about Mortarion real quick. It really offered a different challenge. It was very well designed as a boss. It's still very RNG, you know, reliant on certain factors and who he may target, right? I have a Diamond 2 Aleph Null that may or may not survive Legendary 4. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? It's always a coin toss. Or if my Scarabs duplicate, I can go from dealing, you know, 200k damage if things go really bad, to 350k damage if things go really well. But I get it, right? It's kind of the nature of the beast in this game. If you have good crits, you have good procs, you have good whatever the case, your raid will go good or it will go bad. It's kind of a staple across the board for everything, right? I feel like that aspect is heavily emphasized and dramatized here, where, you could literally have the difference of 150k versus 350k if Silent King wants to walk off his throne. That's problematic. I don't think that's good design. But let's talk about this, though. Mortarion comes out. You level up all your characters. You have new characters that you need to bring in to really take on this boss, right? You need Aleph Null in a good spot. You need Roswitha in a good spot, right? Your Thad maybe previously wasn't really used, and you get him up. Sweet. For what reward? There is literally no increase in rewards to doing the new, harder boss. Whatsoever. There is nothing unique about the rewards. And the same thing holds true for Screamer Killer. And in fact, it's worse for Screamer Killer. And the reason is, in my personal opinion, is you're offering a new boss with no rewards. Like, that just feels incredibly bad. We get 200 tokens if we kill it on Legendary, 5,000 gold, or whatever, a Legendary Orb, and something else. It's so underwhelming that whatever, cool, I just click on the box, cool, got it, done. That is the same exact rewards that we get for killing it on Epic. Instead, on Epic, we get a little less gold, and we actually get a Malletus Shard. I don't get any shards on Legendary. So you could argue, depending on how much you value shards, that the rewards for Epic difficulty are better or equal to Legendary difficulty. The rewards for killing Legendary 1 Turvagon are the same as killing Legendary 4 Mortarion. Which, fine, whatever. And then you have Screamer Killer come out. And I'm going to talk about two real things that were really highlighted for me with Screamer Killer that made me feel really bad. Number one, and I'm going to be reading this off exactly to how I sent it to my friend yesterday. It is an indication of bad design, philosophy, and approach. Number one. And I say this because they specifically wanted to create a boss that was non-linear, required strategy, and wanted players to avoid brute force. That was actually their exact quote when they were talking about releasing this boss. And instead, they failed completely because brute force was the exact answer. What do? I just recently showed how I kill Screamer Killer on Legendary 2. I walk in with Calgar, Bellator, and I post some ranged characters around them in a ring so they get Calgar buff, and then I light him the fuck up. He doesn't move after round 1. Instead, he tosses my character, I run my character back in, and then I do the same thing. Number 2 is they don't understand content scaling and appropriate reward patterns. Legendary 4 Screamer Killer practically requires Diamond 2 characters to perform well, which makes sense, and I'm reading this, since D2 came out right before it did. Yet there was no increase in rewards for beating the new tough boss. Now, imagine you're playing World of Warcraft, or you're playing any other MMORPG in the history of time, and they come out with a brand new boss, and he's the hardest motherfucker you've ever fought before in your life. Absolutely challenging. And you go and you realize you're not strong enough, so you go grind, you get stronger, you take your team in, you go beat him down, and he dies. And he drops the same exact shit that the boss that you were previously killing much easier dropped before. Instead, you had to put in a lot more work. For some people, in this game, that means money to go beat him up. And you get the same exact stuff. That feels bad. Now, I've talked multiple times about different ways that you can try to fix this problem. Maybe Screamer Killer should drop Winged Prime shards and Northrop shards. That would be pretty cool. Maybe Mortarion should drop Death Guard shards. Not like you can get them any other fucking way in the game. Where are the rewards to match the work that we're doing? Where have we gotten any sort of reward ramp-ups anywhere in the game? The ceiling keeps getting higher, and we're still having to use the same damn ladder to get to the ceiling. Feels bad. Especially on the back of Diamond 2 coming out, and all the legendary drops still sitting at a 17% drop rate, and we require literally double the amount of legendary drops to build our roster. And this problem compounds and compounds and compounds with the more characters that we get in the game, which we're going to talk about here in the next section, character releases. Now, for character releases, I don't want to spend as much time here because I feel like I've made this point time and time and time and time again. We've gotten loads of new characters in the game. But cycling back into that content drought pattern, where do I use them? Now, when I first started playing the game, we got some great characters introduced into the game. The Tau. Right? And I know Nandi, it's probably going to be his favorite part of this video, is almost every Tau felt really awesome, right? Ravos came in, incredible, absolutely changed the face of PvP, pretty much almost made Arena feel mindless, because, you know, the AI came in and literally just runs and gives Ravos a hug, and Ravos just rips all of them to pieces, so, I mean, that kind of made Arena feel a little bit bad. But also really good if you had him. Shoso came in and was a phenomenal character, right? Like, the drones coming in and applying, hits across the board really helped with those boss adjutant primes that we really had to deal with. Great character, great for PvP, really fun to use. Then we had Anshi come in, felt phenomenal. And, was able to reset the cooldown and really spark some life into some characters that were kind of falling off a little bit, right? Yarick, for example, who's still a very solid character even without Anshi, but really sparked some life into them. Bellator used with Turfgon and Hive Tyrant, like, that is awesome. Shadow Sun was a miss. I really don't think Shadow Sun was good, and Darkstrider was the worst character probably in the game. Maybe a little exaggerative, until they reworked Marker Light to work on bosses. So that was a good change. Before I get into all the new characters that came into the game, let's talk about one of the big pain points that we have with a lot of people, and the current characters. I know, for example, that there are quite a few Orc players out there who are absolutely hating life. My buddy Yngvar loves the Orcs, and he hates using them because they feel like shit. My buddy Nick joined the game, and he was like, oh, sweet, man, like, there's Orcs in here? And I'm like, yeah, bud, but they all fucking suck. Literally, you're gonna have a bad time. And that felt really bad. And normally this wouldn't be a problem, because you'd be like, oh, you know what, fine, and in a while they'll get, a rework or something, and they'll get a little bit of love. That really hasn't seemed to be the case, with the exception of the Necrons when the Indomitus Elite campaign came out. The new content came in, and they got their rework to make sure they could do the new content, which wasn't really needed because you could literally just have Aleph Null do the entire campaign by itself. I've proven this. Now, this doesn't seem all that doom and gloom for one of the other shitty factions in the game, like the Black Templars, who we might get some sort of updates or buffs or whatever whenever the Elite Octarius Mirror comes out. Maybe. But what about the Orcs? There's already an Elite Octarius campaign. Are they ever going to get touched? All this really touches into the lack of insight point that I want to make later, is we don't know what the plans are. We don't know if this is going to happen. Even myself and the other content creators who do have the fortunate ability to talk to the devs don't have answers. And even if we did, we couldn't give them to you. Now, maybe these plans are in the work, but they require us to trust Snowprint to enact them. But all they really seem to care about recently is releasing the new characters. And I want to be excited every time a new character comes out, and I just can't. I was for the longest time. Any new character came out, I was grinding. I was making sure I got that character at least epic, if not legendary. And you take a look at my roster and you see that prove true. I have legendary Ulf, I have legendary Tiark, I have legendary Arjak, I have legendary, Neurothrop. But where am I going to be using a lot of these characters? Tiark right now is not good until D2, D3. And there's no way I'm going to invest in him that highly for bosses that I already am top damage on with other characters. Neurothrop is really good whenever I get Arimon, and, I have a decent Abraxas. I could take him into Mortarion. But, we just got Tyranids released, and I can't bring them to any of the raid bosses because 3 of them are Tyranids. Yet I can bring them into Onslaught, and I can have them fight in the tournament arena where they fight other Tyranids, so, okay. I have still yet to find a good use for Arjak X outside of Conquest mode, which comes out, once every 3 months? And once again, even if I did want to invest in him for that literal single purpose, he needs to go to Silver 1 and stay there. We talked about the issues with Tournament Arena multiple times. So for all the PvP characters that I really talk about and I really like, and I think they're cool, Azrael, Sark, Arjak, Deathleaper, maybe Wing Tyrant, you could say, is kind of a PvP character. I think his best moment will be for the boss adjutant characters, really, right? Like, cool, PvP, Nyal, PvP. It's... Now, the Thousand Suns, I feel, were really good. I've already talked about them before and how they're going to be, really well implemented and how they have been really well implemented. But our 2 PvP game modes are Tournament Arena, which happens once or twice every month for a few days, and Normal Arena, which is an absolute abysmal game mode. Because the AI is so fucking stupid that it's hard to enjoy. Put Ravos on elevation, move all your other characters back, everybody moves into Ravos and dies. And the rewards are shit. We talk about rewards again. Cool, here's some Snapper Rekka shards, which for me doesn't feel that bad anymore because I had to blue star my Snapper Rekka just so I could feel like the game mode was a little bit rewarding. And at the end of the season, if you were in Captain's League, you either A, get legendary badges, or B, get, epic badges, which, if you get the epics, feel bad. And I've been getting Chaos the last 3 times, epic badges, which I have no need for because there's 14 Chaos characters that I have, and I don't need to invest in any of them. We're getting all of these characters and know where to use them. That's what feels bad. I have all these PvP characters, and PvP feels bad. But that's besides the point. Let's take a look at all of the recent characters that have come out since I've started playing the game. We have the Tau. So, Shosil, Ravos, Shadow Sun, and Darkstrider, and Anshi. 2 of which are legendary release events, so that's fine. I'll have a chance to get them no matter what eventually, if I'm strong enough. But what if I'm a new player and I want Shadow Sun, Ravos, or Shosil? Good luck, get fucked. The Thousand Suns came out. Phenomenal. Once again, cannot heap enough praise on how the Thousand Suns were handled. Beautifully done. No complaints. Tyranids. Hero release event, Battle Pass, and hero release event. Space Wolves, hero release event, hero release event, hero release event. And then with Niall, Archaeotech, which I'm 100% okay with. I feel bad that Niall is our first endgame character and is being released via Archaeotech. I don't think our first endgame character should be in the Rogue Trader shop. I think the first endgame character should have come from raids. Dark Angels. Hero release event, Battle Pass. So, that leaves us, with the exception of the Thousand Suns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 characters. That if you don't get them now, you may never get them. Fear of missing out characters is a shit way to do things. When you've already proven that if you have a well-designed character that people can get excited about, they will spend the money. But if they don't spend the money today, they will never get a chance to. I don't get it. I really don't. Patience is a virtue, in my personal opinion. And, like, cool, it's nice having the Space Wolves in the game, and the Tyranids in the game, and the Dark Angels in the game. But if I start playing next month, I'm not going to be able to get any of these characters. They're just going to be gray silhouettes that I'm not going to be able to touch unless I get a lucky roll. But let's talk about lucky rolls here in the game now that we have all these characters. Shall we? Let's go ahead and pull up the stats for a Requisition 10 drop right now. Oh, just kidding. I think my game crashed. But the more characters that we get in the game, the less chances I'm going to be able to get the character that I want. So let's go ahead and talk about, just straight up getting the character released as a drop and not even talking about shards. So let's scroll all the way down because there's so many characters put in requisitions. Jesus, I am scrolling for days here. To get a character if you already own it. Or convert to shards if you already own it. There's a 50% chance to get a common character. That means every common character is at a 4% chance. Not terrible. An uncommon character, 27% chance. Now that will include Ulf, Tiark, Sark, so Ravos, Shosil, all those characters that we mentioned before, you have a 1.69% chance to draw them. Rare. That contains Darkstrider, Arjak, Northrop, Abraxas. 0.93% chance. Epic, you have a 0.88% chance, and that contains Azrael. Legendary. If you have every legendary unlocked for the wreck, it's a 0.3% chance. The doom and gloom there is real. And mind you, this is all from the perspective of a new player coming into the game. I personally feel fine, right? But I see the issues with it. I have every character except for Niall, Ahriman, and Typhus. Which I may never get Typhus. I may never get this character. I have hard farmed Celestine, Calgar, Creed. Hard farmed them. Would I have spent $20 to get a little bit of a boost on them? Absolutely I would have. But we have all these fear of missing out characters, and that just feels bad for the state of the game. Come out with a character, put them in some sort of shop, put them in some sort of way to slowly grind their character out. If somebody sees that they need 500 shards for, the legendary Tyranid, right? Are they gonna spend $30, $40 to try to accelerate that? Absolutely. Mind you, $60, $65 for, 100 Ahriman shards is what people pay for a game like Baldur's Gate 3. And people paid for it. It's not like you're losing money here, man. Not like you're losing money here. You print money. Every time you come out with a character, you print money. Which really brings me to a lot of the monetization points, right? And we'll talk about that separately. But I saw a chart recently. It's build a good product, build trust, profit. Right there. That is your model. follow that model, you print money. Now, granted, it's not necessarily, just 1, 2, 3, you're done. It's 1, 2, 3, cycle back, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Come out with something good. Build players' trust. Make us feel like you care about us, that we're gonna, actually be rewarded for playing the game. Because I have not felt rewarded for playing the game. I felt rewarded for spending money. Right? But, it just makes it really hard. Now, here's one of the issues, and I really try to get people to understand that this game is a marathon, not a sprint. Because if you sprint towards the finish line and you get there, there's nothing after it. What do you do now? What is the point for me killing Screamer Killer? What is the point for me killing Mortarion? Nothing. I get nothing from it. I get some guild credits to spend in the guild store. Cool. What do I get out of the guild store? Experience tomes to level up my characters to kill what? Mortarion. Why? I don't fucking know. So while I'm running out of goals, it shows that this game is not really built up for your endgame players, which is bad design, because your endgame players are your big freaking spenders. And some of the people that I talked about quitting this game are your endgame players. I have no idea how long my guild's going to be able to stand, because I'm seeing a lot of people talk about fatigue. And I'm going to read some of their comments right now that they made. I asked yesterday. I said, hey, everybody, look, I've gotten word that several big players are planning to quit. Therefore, I'm going to do a state of the game video to hopefully try and spark some things. Here are my 4 points. Let me know if I'm missing something. Somebody said, how about pure greed in light of them being acquired? I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is. I feel like the developers have maintained a lot of their core personalities, and it's not really changing things. Maybe it is. I don't think so. But perception is reality. That is some players' perception. They feel like ever since they were acquired, the pace has changed. 4 characters released in record short time. He said, and I replied, yeah, sans the Thousand Suns, every character has been a FOMO character, and, the pace has been insane. He said, the use case is irrelevant. It's a hero collecting game, and they've upped the pace. Yet they've done little with the economy. And Niall to the Rogue Trader was a bad look. I disagree with that point. I think that Niall coming in for Archaeotech was fine, as I've mentioned before. But, it being our first endgame character feels bad. Pretty sure the login calendar hasn't been touched since launch. Yeah, that feels really bad. The weekly rotation on that has kind of sucked. Now, Star Wars Galaxy of Hero, they come out with a weekly or a monthly calendar where, you go through and the rewards at the end are really good. Like, we're talking, the equivalent of legendary badges and legendary orbs. You get enough shards to really make a significant dent in characters that you wouldn't have before. However, in this game, all we have is the Battle Pass, which gives us a fraction of the character that we need to get. If it's a rare character, you're not unlocking them. And if it's, with the exception of Deathleaper, right? And Azrael. But you have to buy premium. You have to pay. You have to pay to get the character. You can't just play the game and be rewarded at a decent level. Somebody else said, to play even quasi-competitively, you need to spend $15 a month. I would imagine this game is miserable if you're completely free-to-play. These are your paying customers saying this stuff. Paying customers. Somebody else said, not that I was against the updates, but since the D2 update, I've been feeling more and more fatigued towards the game. The resources needed just for the 3 levels requires a lot of work, and no guarantees on getting those resources. So, stop right there. Absolutely right. You raise the ceiling, and you don't give us more ladder to get there. Not getting guarantee on those resources. 17% drop rate for those legendary resources, and you can only really, do those battles every couple whatever a day, right? Some of them have 13 battles, 10 normal, 3 elite battles, right? That's 90 energy. That's a lot of energy, especially if you have other goals, right? You want to unlock Abraxas. You want to, farm Castellan Creed like I've been doing. You don't have enough energy unless you buy energy refreshes. Game feels bad if you're free to play. Now, granted, you get a lot of Blackstone, and I've said again and again and again and again, you should spend your Blackstone towards energy refreshes, and this is why. The guild store should have all 3 types of badges available every day, and they can have the rarities of the badges rotate throughout the week. So dumb having to wait like a week and a half for the store to maybe have legendary in badges for sale, and it's not like we can farm that many guild credits anyway, so it wouldn't make it too easy. And with Onslaught's being so shitty, trying to rely on it for resources is great. It's either work on a character for its shards, hope maybe you can get orbs if you want to star up, or convert somebody just for tokens. 3 different objectives for such a limited mode is crap. And I have literally done 8 Xeno Onslaughts trying to work on legendary orbs with no luck. Being gated. And this problem will only increase with the more characters that you want to work on. Cool. I could put everything into it right now. If I were to go completely free to play and I take 2 characters, completely free to play, how long would it take for me to get one of those to Diamond 2? And what would the state of the other one look like by the end of the race? Right? Or by the end of the time? I can get one all the way up to Diamond 2. Is the other one going to be sitting at, like, Stone 1? Maybe. Alright, somebody else said, and this is somebody that's genuinely pretty optimistic. Character release events. Oh, just stockpile and stop playing the game for several weeks to get a character to Legendary. Otherwise, for most endgame players, they sit at the end of the roster unused. Some of the missions are becoming a chore. Endgame players literally do not have slots to get a character from Epic to Legendary, even if it was their favorite character in 40k. So how do you get their shards otherwise? Wait months for a character event to get a few shards for it, or pay like 90 shards, still not Legendary for max missions, or wait for a battle pass that you have to pay for. Or Rex. Please, let's not go there. This is terrible and has stopped me from using characters completely. Snowprint, bring as many as you like out, unless they are absolutely meta, and there is virtually no way for me to use them. In Arena, G1 Max, and CM League doesn't cut it. GR, you want me to get kicked out of my competitive guild. Or missions because the campaign isn't available. So essentially, he's absolutely right. If you're competitive, right, everybody's damage matters. So you can't go in and experiment with Neurothrop. If you've got a gold 1 Neurothrop, you go in there, you deal 20k damage. The rest of your guild's going to be like, dude, what the fuck? Especially since this player right here that I'm talking about is the second highest hitter in the game on average. He is right behind me and normally neck and neck with me. This guy is 100% like my biggest competition in the guild. If he just randomly starts doing 80k damage, we're going to drop in rankings from like top 10 all the way down to like 15. It would really hurt us that bad. So where was I? Oh yeah, so wait for a TA mode to use them twice every 5 weeks for a couple of days. Poor investment of my time and resources. So, yeah, right now I have all these Tyranids coming out that I have quests to do, and where can I use them to do these quests? Onslaught, which they would get the shit kicked out of them in. Salvage Run, which, okay, whatever. I can't use them in a campaign. I can't use them in Arena because you would get absolutely decimated. What do? Nothing. I literally have most of my new characters sitting at Iron 1, and that's about it. They might be cool. I might want to use them. I can't. And if I want to use more characters, for those couple of TA days, I'll most likely miss the rewards for the final chest, which in my opinion should be obtainable through daily play and participation. The rewards aren't great, but you don't want to miss out. You miss a couple of tokens or lose some battles and you're fucked. True. Arena. Daily mode. That is not worth the rewards, and that final chest of legendary chaos badges is just laughable at this point. I made that point. I have like 70 chaos badges that I'll never spend because there's not enough chaos characters in the game to spend them on. And the fact that we have nothing but Xenos and Xenos and Xenos and Xenos absorbing all my resources, or Imperials, right? Because Ragnar's coming up and I'm hoarding for him. My chaos stuff is just sitting there collecting dust. Ironic, because Abraxas is who I'm going to be trying to work up to spend on, but, I have experience that I need to balance out, and I can't just dump everything to him. I have other goals to meet. Now, here's an easy way to fix Arena. Just give us currency and open up an Arena shop and put a whole bunch of the characters in there that aren't obtainable any other way in that shop. Boom. Problem solved. Problem fucking solved right there. Not hard. Why won't you do it? Screamer Killer. Thought that was to mix things up. Took about 4 hours to figure out, and guess what? It was the same fucking characters to use again. So nothing new. If anything, the primes are a pain in the ass to fight due to annoying maps. Not because they're hard. Characters and balance reviews. Only seem to care about the new characters. Northrop getting a nerf before release and now somewhat usable against a boss or two. Why? Would have loved a new character to use in raids, but actually you can use the same characters and get same or better results. Northrop can be used probably to one of the best effects against Mortarion, so I don't think you can get better results, but is it worth the investment? Probably not. Winged Prime, slight nerf. Why? Would have loved a new character to use in raids. Slight nerf to summons. Really? What the fuck about Orcs and Black Templars? Full factions that have completely sucked since the beginning and done nothing for them. It's not even about new content anymore. They used to make some buffs to characters, but have stopped this, so if anything, it's reduced content. So many characters that should be awesome but wasted. Azrael, Creed, Jace, you literally just grinded months for Creed. What are you going to do with him now? He's going to sit at the bottom of my roster. I just wanted to unlock him. That's what I'm going to do with him now. Where's the Necron legendary? Yeah, Anufet? He's not legendary, he's epic. There is no Necron legendary. Jaeger. The imp champ that is so bad that you can't even bring him to duel/guild raid. Abaddon, the War Master. He capitalized that. Don't even see him in Arena, yet alone GRs. A Tau with Marker Light is more effective than all of those characters probably combined. Darkstrider, who was shit in the beginning. That is not right. We need more raid viable characters. It's so still for most people. Where's the Lion? Where's Avatar of Cain? Where's Bloodthirster? Ingon? Where's insert all of the fucking badasses in the 40k universe? Where's the campaigns? Where's the community events where you can all join forces against a formidable foe? Where's the endgame content? Other games, it's all about the new stuff and being able to get it because you are endgame. It's something to work towards as a new or recent player. Where else can I use my favorite characters? Where's the challenge? I feel sorry for those people that have been playing for a long time. Probably bored and walled to death hoping for new content. Hoping for favorite characters, hoping to be able to use them somewhere in the game. Probably at a point thinking, it ain't coming and it's not worth my time anymore, what's the point? That's what's happening to these players. This is somebody that is endgame. This is somebody that loves this fucking game. This is somebody that is very competitive, puts a lot of effort into it, and I pray to the gods that he does not quit. One of my favorite people in this game that I've played with for a long time is talking about quitting. And said, hey, look, I'm just not really having fun with the game anymore. And if he quits, it's going to hurt me. I've already dialed back on this game heavily. I'm going mostly free to play because of all these reasons. Because I'm like, hey, look, like if the ship is sinking and I can't fix it, I'm going to stop paying money into it. Right? Sunken cost fallacy only gets you so far. So much could be done, but won't see anything for months if Snowprint keep what they are doing. And to be honest, I don't know what that is anymore. And being honest, since launch, I have thought, what's the point? I'm still playing because I love 40k. I enjoy the guild I'm in, and I put a lot of money into this game to support it, hoping it'll continuously get better or get to a point where it is fun to play. I want to log in every day. It is certainly nowhere near that point, unfortunately, and I'm finding it harder and harder to put money in for such little return. Apologies for mostly negative feedback. Mind you, this is a very, optimistic guy. Historically. Of course, there are great things about this game and its potential, but I think at this point it's needed. Let's see here. Anything else? Somebody said the game was never sustainable for endgame players. Model may have worked for Rivengard, but not for the larger, hungrier, spendier 40k player base. So those are, and mind you, this was just a small sample size of people that I asked. This was my officer corps in my guild that I asked. And not a single person had anything positive to say. Why did I get so heavily invested in this game? Well, I started playing it, And the formula was so different and unique from what I'm used to. Instead of just lining up 5 characters on the map and fighting 5 characters on the other side of the map, like, it was different. You had the hexes, the elevation, the terrain effects. Like, it was great. The IP is stellar. And on initial interaction, it's fantastic. We need more of that continuation, that change, that evolution to really spark the life in here. Now, that was a lot more than just character releases. But essentially, the point really stands. I have these characters that I have one chance to get, and if I don't get them, I'm fucked. Because requisitions, maybe. Which the RNG is so fucking bad. And it would be one thing if requisitions were just characters, but the orbs coming into it too, which is a shitty, antiquated system, especially when the imbalance is so insane, right? And also, what are you doing for endgame players, giving them common fucking or uncommon fucking orbs? Do you know how many of those I have? Cool, you came out with the salvage system and the forging system for me to hopefully get a little bit more of a feels-good moment in that. But let's go ahead and take a look at my Ascension page right now. For orbs, I have 377 uncommon Imperial orbs, 386 Xenos, 258 for Chaos. For rare, 242, 137, 240. Epic, 115, 109, and 114. Legendary, 22, 3, and 1. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to forge one of those real quick. I need forge badges, which are expensive to get. 10 of the previous tier, and then 50,000 gold. I have 158 gold on my account. Why add in the gold? Let me just convert those resources up. Help me out. Make it so it doesn't feel so shitty when I get these low-tier rewards that I can't use. Like, why? Because monetization, right? I can buy gold all day long. Let's talk about the price of that. 1,300, so roughly a little more than $10 because it doesn't trade over well, right? $10 gives me 1250 Blackstone. For 1,300 Blackstone, I can get 100k coins. I can get 2 legendary orbs with that. Forging. And that's not even counting the cost of the epic orbs or the crafting tokens, the forge tokens, which are historically very expensive as well. Dude. It feels really bad. Kind of cycling into the over monetization. You raise the ceiling. You give us the same ladder. To make progress, I have to spend. Everything is monetized. Almost everything. Daily guild store. You can, buy 100 guild credits. I'm sorry, $100 for the daily guild credits. Monetized. The daily shop. Inherently monetized. Gold. Monetized. Experience. Monetized. Tournament arena. Well, if you lose a battle, you can spend money to get a refresh. Halloween. Monetized. Christmas. Gotta be monetized. The anniversary, where you celebrate the game's 1-year anniversary and say, thank you for playing our game. We love you. Spend money. New characters. Monetized. Legendary release events. Monetized. We talked about that little loop, right? Build product. Build trust. Profit. We're not even doing 1 and 2 anymore. It's literally just been riding 3 for the longest time. And the longer that you ride 3, the more 2 and 1 erode. You can't keep doing this. And for anybody that says you can, look at the players that are talking about leaving. Look at some of your most passionate people. Me. I love this fucking game. And I want to keep loving it. But it has to feel good. It has to feel rewarding. I want to feel good because I play this game, not because I spend money on this game. That's it. And it starts early. It starts early. You don't buy Yark as a day one player. You kick yourself in the ass for the rest of your existence. Why that's a limited time offer makes no sense to me. Keep that as a permanent offer in the game. Permanent offer in the game. Stop preying on fear of missing out. I understand. I understand that there's formulas that are utilized, and there's different development codes and everything else, and systems designed to get people to spend more money, right? It's like the melting cheese effect for Domino's Pizza, right? Like, it's like a psychological effect that, like, you know, dripping cheese causes people to want to eat pizza or some shit like that, right? I get it. You're here to make money. Don't lose your soul in the process. Or the game loses its soul, and then the game loses its players. And yeah, I'm sure the game is growing, but you have all these loyal players already that are spending, anytime something comes out, dropping thousands of dollars to try to get Arimon, right? Those are the kind of people you're losing. And, you know, I can't, I don't want that person to leave, because I see that person's name all the time. I've never talked to him, but I see that person's name all the time. I'm like, God damn, man, that guy is going crazy. I don't want that person to leave. Let him be at the top of the game. That's awesome. Good for you, man. If you enjoy spending money on this, awesome. People ask me all the time, how much money have you spent on this game, Jason? My answer is always, more than I should, less than I could. Right? But because I enjoy it and I want to support something that I enjoy. It's the same logic that applies to donating to somebody on Twitch whenever they put out good content that you like watching. Keeps me entertained, keeps me happy. I don't mind giving you some money. It's just money. But imagine that Twitch streamer that I gave money to looks at me and goes, "Thanks, sucker. Go fuck yourself. I don't, like, I'm just going to take this money and whatever," right? Oh, fuck you, dude, right? I donated to a Twitch stream, and he was like, "Hey, man, thanks, I appreciate that." It's like, you're welcome, dude. You're welcome. Thanks for putting out good content. Thanks for keeping me entertained. Thanks for keeping me happy, man. That's the kind of relationship we look for as human beings. It's like giving money to a homeless dude on the street, right? You give money to him, and they're like, "Hey, man, thanks," and he goes and buys a sandwich. You're like, I did something good today. Or I give that money to a homeless man. He goes out and buys, you know, fucking some meth and just shoots it up right there in front of you. You're like, dude, no, man. Like, that's why I don't do it. You know, I try to be a very generous person. Like, a story I'll tell. I was at a gas station, and, you know, also happened at a CVS. I'll actually tell the CVS story. For anybody that doesn't know, it's a pharmacy here in the States. Woman walks up to me in the parking lot of CVS, and she goes, "Hey, you know, I was just in the pharmacy, and my daughter, you know, she, like, I need to get her medicine. It's $20. Do you have $20 that you can give me?" I said, "Ma'am, look, I'm sorry, I don't carry cash. However, you know, I've got a credit card. Your daughter needs medicine. I'll go in with you, and I'll get her that medicine." Right? That's a good cause. Getting a little girl some medicine? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. What does the lady say? She goes, "Oh, no thanks, never mind. I'm good." Same thing happened at that gas station. The guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you know, I'm on a road trip with my family. I really need gas right now. Can you give me 20 to fill up?" Absolutely, dude. I don't carry cash. I'll tell you what. I'll go swipe my card. You put as much gas in your vehicle as you need. No thanks, I'm good. Exactly. Now, it's this crazy thing here, but it's essentially, I'm willing to give my money to something I trust. A lot of people are willing to give their money to something they trust. That's not happening here. A lot of people are losing faith. A lot of people are losing that trust. And nothing that can be said will fix it. It needs to be shown in actions. Give us more stuff like the Samhain campaign. Give me new content and make me feel rewarded for doing it. Because I don't. Like, you would talk about Screamer Killer. You come out with Diamond 2. I got Diamond 2 characters. I'm not getting any better rewards for having these characters and doing this content. So that really goes into the over-monetization. That goes in, it really ties into the character releases, the content drought. And, all of it really cycles into that fourth main point of lack of insight. Maybe there's some grand upcoming plan. Maybe. Maybe Guild Wars are right around the corner. Maybe they're coming out tomorrow. Maybe they're coming out a year from now. We don't know. And it's really hard for us to say, yeah, okay, I'll wait for it. When it could be 6 months from now, it could be a year from now, it could be 5 years from now. We don't know. Because it said coming soon. You click on it now, it says coming soon. You don't believe me, go to your guild, click on Guild Wars. Click on it, says coming soon. It said that for how long? What is soon? That's what players want to know. We want a roadmap. Because you keep giving me PvP characters, and PvP is shit. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do anything with these characters, and essentially, like, why invest in them? They might be my favorite fucking character. I think Lictor looks cool. Deathleaper looks cool as shit. Winged Prime has a great design. I can't invest in them because I have to invest in other things, but I want to. I want to invest in these characters. But I have so many characters that I need to work on. The ceiling and my ladder. And I just can't get there. And I spend, or have spent, a significant amount of money on this game. More than I should, less than I could. And my ladder isn't big enough. How the fuck does a new player feel? Or somebody that doesn't spend? And I get it. Right? The people that spend are always going to be more elevated than the people that don't. That's fine. Right? Let them hit the goals early. Let them hit the new plateaus earlier than everybody else. Let them be stronger than everybody else. Sure. Okay. But if there is such a degree of separation that I won't be able to touch where player is now, so let's look at it on the timeline, right? If I'm here, player X is here. In 6 months, if I can only get here while player, X is here now, I don't even come to where they were 6 months ago. They're all the way here, and I'm still back here. The economy is messed up. They were doing some things that are really nice for a while there, like increasing drop rates for things, for energy and whatnot. That felt nice. They increased it like several percentage points. We haven't had that happen in the last 2 months, and Diamond 2 came out. What? I have legit farmed for 10 Diamond 2s. I have 10 Diamond 2s on my account. And let's take a look here at a legendary upgrade that I now need to farm. I don't think I actually have any right now available. Just kidding. Orcs. I'm working on orcs for the campaign. Alright, so we can do 13 battles a day to get points towards the custom gubbins. 40% chance for legendary. And then a 17% chance, I believe, for normal. So normal versus elite. Sorry, elite versus legendary. I have legit done all of these battles in a single day and gotten 2 upgrades. So that means I'm gated for however many days. Let's see here. 2, 9, right? So need 4.5 days on average to get 1 upgrade for a character. And that's not even all the upgrade, because I need 9 of those. Then I need 6 of an epic. And then I need let's see, 18 of a common item to unlock that upgrade for that character. And that's one of 6 upgrades needed to take them higher. The ladder. The ladder is not there. And like I said, it's the lack of player insight knowing what Snowprint wants to do. And it's the lack of Snowprint's insight on how they want to achieve these goals. We talked about Screamer Killer not really meeting that mark for what they intended. And I'd love to do an interview with somebody from the design team and go, okay, talk to me about design philosophy and character design and design principles and everything else. Do they just come out with a character and go, he's a sniper, he should have a gun, he should do this? Or do they go, hey, we need a guild raid character. All right, what do we want that character to do, and who would that best match with? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I feel like the chicken comes first and then the egg comes later. Like they go, okay, well, we need Dark Angels. Okay, cool, we have Dark Angels. Okay, now what do the Dark Angels do? Well, they have a gun and they overwatch good. Okay, now where are the Dark Angels going to be used? PvP. But PvP sucks. Oh, fuck. You're right. PvP. Right? Like Azrael. He's designed to be a PvP character, but he doesn't really do anything well because he synergizes with Dark Angels. We don't have the rest of the Dark Angels. And we've had Azrael, what, for now 4 months? 5 months? Or 3 months? 4 months? Dude. I think it's actually 4 or 5. The character is almost unusable. Yes, we just had his quest recently to remind us, yes, he's still unusable. Cool. That felt good. I know, this video has been just a lot of me bitching and whining and complaining, and yes, I said it's going to be a negative video up front, and I apologize. Please, 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 if you share any of these sentiments, you agree, you disagree, let me know. Put them in your feedback. Whenever surveys come out, let them know. Fuck, link this video if you feel it resonates in the survey. Hopefully somebody sees it and goes, yeah, maybe some things need to be changed. Maybe some of y'all see it and go, nah, man, feels fine, spend more, stop bitching. And, that's the problem. Like, I don't feel rewarded for doing it. And I don't feel rewarded for getting the characters up to certain levels. I said time and time again that Guild Raids is the only good game mode, but they're messing that up. They're making it harder and harder and harder while the rewards stay the same. And actually, the rewards are better for the easier modes. We killed Tervagon and Hive Tyrant in like half a day, and I get the same rewards that it takes us to kill like Screamer Killer at Legendary 4 in like 2 days. And while it sucks for endgame players, I have 2 accounts sitting at a lower level that I just don't feel like really putting a lot of time into. I actually don't touch my newest account hardly at all. I'll play my middle account mainly because I want to help out the guild that I have going there. That's it. But literally, I look at it and I go, this account will never scratch where the other accounts can be. Or my main account could be. Ever. Ever. It wouldn't even come close. My second account can't touch where my main account is 3 months ago. Couldn't happen. Unless I spend. And I did a little bit. I bought battle passes and stuff like that. No more. I will not spend another single penny on that account. My main account, I'll buy battle passes. That's it. Maybe some energy or Blackstone refreshes on occasion. But yeah, it's a very long time of me talking. Hopefully this video is able to upload decently well. We'll see. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, happy Halloween. It's the scariest thing I could think about doing. But until next time, peace.